Hey, happy Tuesday. Looks like I'm live now, and welcome to another Live with Mike. We're always trying to keep you up to date on the latest with the web for your business website, your business productivity on the web. All right. So today I want to talk about the 5 most important WordPress plugins that you can have on your website, why they're important, and a little bit of a background story on the importance of WordPress upkeep. Okay, but first, also want to mention that I'm going to have a upcoming post. It's not ready yet, but I'm working on it, so I'm thinking about it, and this is important, so I want to get it out there. But one of the trends we're seeing in e-commerce, of course, e-commerce has grown. It's not going to go anywhere other than up and increase in the days ahead. More businesses need to find ways to allow people to shop online because that's what people want to do. They got used to that during the pandemic and not going away from it, and they want to do it on their phone. But one of the biggest trends is that people like to use, there's major growth in these buy now and pay in installments type thing. So for example, you can buy something that is, $500, and then you can select the payment option. And I'll talk about those services in a moment. But basically, those then allow you to pay in 4 payments over 4 months, or whatever. I guess to divide that up at no interest. Okay, so that's the key, no interest. And the use of these is skyrocketing by consumers for the websites that have them. The problem is that many websites are still behind and not getting that on there. So one of the service providers that is available is what's called Afterpay, okay, which is what it says basically. So at checkout, so again, you purchased, um, things that were $500 in total, and at checkout, checkout now, or do you want to use Afterpay to check out and pay in equal amounts over 4 months with no interest? People select that, and then it takes them to Afterpay. You get a quick account set up, and then starts the process. For you as a business owner, you're paid the full $500 right away. Okay, and Afterpay just takes care of working with that person to get that payments in over the time period that was set. And so it's good for the business. You get paid right away. It's good for the business that you are offering a option, a way for consumers to buy that is palatable for bigger ticket items. Okay, so somebody, it's $500, maybe they're saying, I don't have that now. So and they're thinking through, if I put that on my credit card and my credit card carries a balance, I'm going to get charged 15% interest, so I'm not going to purchase that now. But they see this and they say $500, and I can spread that over 4 months. Okay, that's a much better payment, $125, and there's no interest. Boom, they're opting in. So consumers like it because of the no interest. So it's a better deal than putting it on a credit card and carrying that balance on the credit card. So that's something to take into consideration. It's not that hard to add on to WordPress WooCommerce website, so we can do that for you. We can work with setup of Afterpay, and many of you have like a Stripe payment. It doesn't change that. You would still have that. And it's similar. It's just another type of service, and those can work together. So at checkout, they have 2 different buttons: checkout now or use Afterpay, and the consumers can select. Same type of thing, similar to Stripe in the sense there's no monthly fee. There's just a 30 cents plus a percentage that they take from that sale, and that's their transaction fee. That's how Afterpay makes money, and you get the balance right up front. But just want you to be aware of that emerging trend, and going to have more information coming out in a future blog post. But I think it's important to talk about right now, particularly as we're looking at September, and you have holidays coming up with shopping, November, December. So might be important to get that onto your website, particularly if what we're seeing even in RV parts, those type of things. For example, somebody's out there and they have to spend, again, $500 for parts in their RV. Okay, but maybe you have, we have, Albar Ranch has Western wear, okay, and so people are doing that kind of shopping, and they can easily, rack up 300 bucks, and it might be just more helpful to pay over those, 4 installments, 0 interest. That's the benefit. You can get that added to your site. It was called Afterpay. All right, now back to today, the WordPress website. We often get that question. Somebody comes in that maybe we didn't build the site. They're saying, hey, not getting response from my developer. I really need someone to take over this. It's a WordPress site. You guys do WordPress. Can you help me? And the answer is yes. But we need to take a look at why is that? Because WordPress can be customized in all sorts of ways. And so we need to take a look at how it was built and is it being kept up to date. So, recently we did a review of a site, and it had been built with WordPress. It had been built about 4.5 years ago. And since that point in time, it had no maintenance done to it. So no one had ever pushed update WordPress. So it was operating on a very old version of WordPress. And what that does is it prevents plugins from being updated on the website. So you got multiple problems going on. Number one, the WordPress site is out of date. So it's a security risk. Number two, all the plugins are a security risk because you can't update them as well to keep them up to date. And so what you can have happen then is that when you do update, when you're going from a really old version and you're leap forwarding maybe 8 versions, things can break. So then you have more problems. So again, important to keep your WordPress site up to date, which we offer as a service, and important to keep your plugins up to date, which we would do as part of that service as well. The key plugins that we want to recommend and talk about today are number one, Yoast Seo. It's the simplest SEO tool to help you optimize any page on your website because it just uses a simple system and it kind of runs you through the process and it tells you if it's optimized or not, and if it's not, what you still need to take care of. Yoast SEO, and there's a free version, there's a paid version which with a few more tools on it, but basically it comes down to any page that you create on your website, any blog post, it'll tell you in a green light system, hey, this is a red, this is a yellow, or it's green. You want to get to green, okay? So Yoast is important to have on your website. They update it frequently, so you got to keep that up to date, okay? And second one is Gravity Forms. This is the best form builder out there for WordPress sites. Just a lot of functionality, a lot of power, a lot of tools in that. You can make this into like an e-commerce form. If you want somebody to fill out a form and then make a purchase with that, they have to answer some questions, all that type of thing. You can do that. If you have a nonprofit and you want a donation form, Gravity Forms can be the way to go for that as well. It's got a ton of features for making forms, for employment applications, for offices where you need to get customer information before they come in for the visit. Okay, you can take care of all those kind of forms. Very good. Gravity Forms is important. Typically, that is a paid version plugin, inexpensive, and that's on like a yearly basis. You can do that, so you get the updates with it, and we can easily set up forms that you need within that one. But you want to be able to receive information and be able to have access to that. Gravity Forms is the way to go on that. Next one is WP Rocket. So again, this comes back to your SEO type thing. This is kind of like part of your website loading speed. So it can help kind of speed up your website, give you some optimizations on different pieces there. And it has a thing called a cache. So it can, it saves website information. So it's faster loading for people. Then if you make an update, you can clear that so people get the new, fresh, updated things. WP Rocket is an important one for evaluating and making your site faster. And the fourth one is WordFence security. WordFence helps your site be prevented against getting attacks. And you say, why would somebody want to attack my site? Who knows, but they do. Okay, that's all we can say is that it's rampant out there. And again, maybe you are taking employment forms, so they're seeing if they can try to capture some information or whatever. They want to break in. If you're e-commerce, they want to see if they can break in. So you need word fence because it does simple things. What So a lot of what the phishing type systems do is they have a system that they try to run on a website to test usernames and passwords to try to guess it, and they use basic ones, and it just runs and runs and runs and runs and tries to hit. So you can set word fence up to block that. So if they use a username that is not in your website, it can block. If they try, you can set it so if they try more than 3 times in 10 minutes, a block them. Okay. And so this is helping because it's stopping that hitting of your site that which can take sites down. And so you want that type of thing. Guards against that, gives you information on that, lets you know about threats, attacks, things like that have been there. Informs you again if things are getting out of date. Your WordPress version, your plugins, it'll warn you about those, the security risks involved with those. So that's why it's a great one. And the fifth one I'll talk about is Monster Insights. That's a part of it, integrates with Google Analytics and gives you a kind of a dashboard for seeing your site stats right there in WordPress back end. Again, paid version and a free version. More features in the paid version, but that's so you can see what's happening with your site, what's performing well, what performed well in the past week, in the past month, and it'll warn you if there's any indexability, search engine issues that are important to know for your site. So those are key things to take a look at. There's other pieces of that. If you have e-commerce that we can talk about, our guys are ready to talk about that, to take a look at your site. We can do an audit, we can do those improvements, but don't let your site get out of date. You got to keep getting those updates for security, for keeping up to date. All right, that's what I wanted to cover today. So look forward to that Afterpay blog post coming out now. If you want to look at these best WordPress plugins for your business website, that's live on the site. Go to digitalhill.com/blog to the resource area, and you can capture that one. So hopefully that's some helpful website business information for you today. We'll be back again next time. This was Mike with Alive with Mike, over and